And we are live. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in for a very special live episode of the Rice Crypto Show. Today, I'm going to be joined by the CEO of LBRY and Odyssey, Jeremy Kauffman. He's been on the show plenty of times. I'm going to have links down below so you can check out the playlist of the previous interviews if you want to get a better understanding. I talk about following me on LBRY and Odyssey, where I have backups of all my videos and post up extra content because they are the most decentralized content sharing platform out there. I support them because they support freedom of speech. And right now they've got something happening and they're going to need our support. They're going to need support from not only the crypto community, but from anybody who loves freedom. Big brother, the SEC, is causing a little commotion, a little stir. We're going to talk about it. Just a thing. Because when enough people take a stand, nothing can stand against the people. Got to give a huge shout out to the sponsors of Rice TVX, Monarch, and Presearch. Monarch is a non-custodial cryptocurrency wallet with many features and one safe application. And Presearch is a decentralized search engine that allows you to earn pre-tokens and control your data. I have links down below for their websites and interviews. Make sure you're checking those out. And we're going to go ahead and get the show started. Alrighty, I really do appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much. Make sure you smash that like button. It helps other people to see this information on the YouTube side. But I'm actually doing my very first live stream on Odyssey.com. And I had to check and make sure everything was going good. And it looks like we're rolling fine on Odyssey. And I'm also streaming on my YouTube channel. If you're not following me on Odyssey, LBRY, make sure you're following me there. As I mentioned, backups of all my videos. And I post up extra content and I share other people's videos as well. And I have links down below for that. I'm going to do a screen share here as I'm doing with the case information for this. I'm going to bring Jeremy on in just 1 second. I want to let everybody know that if you would like to support the channel directly, you can follow me on Patreon. I have 3 different levels of membership. And with the $20 membership level, I'm going to be doing recordings with all the different patrons. So if you're paying $20, I'll be in touch with you and I'll be recording those on my Patreon channel. I post up early access to videos. I just interviewed Ammon Bundy for a second time. That's going to be up on my Patreon channel a little bit after I'm done with this interview. And you also get exclusive content. Here I am on Odyssey.com. And also LBRY.tv, which is going to be retired soon. And we're going to talk about that. Another way you can support the channel and also look out for yourself is to invest in precious metals, gold and silver, hedge against the US dollar. I love cryptocurrencies, but precious metals have proven themselves as a safe haven asset. And my partnership, the way it works, you can get a free ½ ounce of silver. All you got to do is be a first-time buyer. Go to moneymetals.com, purchase $100 or more, and you make sure you use the promo code RICE, R-I-C-E. You get a free ½ ounce of silver, and it's an additional way to support the channel. I'm going to share this here in a little bit more detail in just a moment. I'm getting ready to bring on the man himself. I appreciate you making time for today's interview, Mr. Jeremy Kauffman, the CEO of LBRY and Odyssey. Welcome back to the show, man. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, and we're doing very well. All things considered. So, I want to actually, maybe I'll start out with that. we are facing this challenge from the federal government. That's something Ammon Bundy is familiar with as well. A little bit of a different one, but it's not a threat to the technology. It's not a threat to anything that we've built. It's a bit of a headache. I think it's a danger to the ability to freely use cryptocurrencies in the U.S. And so I do think there's something here that's important that people who care about cryptocurrency and free exchange of it really need to be paying attention to this case. But there's no risk of anything, happening that would really damage the LBRY network or the LBRY technology.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm glad that you said it that way, because I know that might have been alarming to a lot of people, that this is just an issue with the token itself, which we'll get into, but it doesn't affect Odyssey.com. It doesn't affect a decentralized network. It doesn't affect the storage of videos. It doesn't affect the content creators still having control of their accounts, their channels, or however you want to terminalize it. So I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah. And I can talk a little bit, I guess, just about what's going on. What the SEC would like is they would like every single token to be a security. And what that means is every exchange would need, in the US, would need to be tracked, highly regulated, special broker-dealer licenses and things like this if you want to facilitate the exchange of it. And that's ultimately what I think it's about, is they would like, the government would like cryptocurrency to be very hard to use in the US, because I think that these agencies are sort of more interested in protecting the status quo than protecting the people and the rights of the people, right? Like in this case, the SEC is going, the standard they're advancing here, it's really any cryptocurrency that's currently developed, right? So that's not completely stagnant, which I'm going to say is just about all of them. I think just about all of them are potentially at risk under this standard.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you were talking about security tokens, because I mean, that's the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. They handle all regulated securities. And in this instance, and this has been kind of an argument for a lot of different cryptocurrencies or tokens, is the fact that it's not a security, it's not an investment tool, it's a utility token, that it's primarily used on the platform. And Naomi Brockwell, who did a really great video that's on the website that's linked down below, LBRYSaveCrypto.com, she compared it to Chuck E. Cheese tokens, like physical Chuck E. Cheese tokens. And that's a really good way of comparing this, because you can't logically think that a Chuck E. Cheese token is a security. Now, we can agree that a Chuck E. Cheese token has value and we can use it as a medium of exchange, but that doesn't make it a security. And that's kind of where I guess you guys are at right now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we didn't, in our case, we didn't do an ICO. We didn't go out and enrich ourselves. We didn't market the token as something to buy as an investment or a way of getting rich. We built the, freest, most open way to publish and share digital content. And now LBRY is being used by tens of millions of people, and it's become very popular. And, and I also think that's part of what's going on. I think that there's things that my company does, that our technology enables, that if you have that mindset of a regulator, which is everything needs to be controlled, everything needs to be tracked, and the government needs to be able to control everything, which is, I think, the mindset that a lot of these regulators have, you might be scared about the fact that, on LBRY, a creator really can own their channel and it can't be taken away from them. You might be scared that, there's not this ability to put pressure on big tech and have things scrubbed off the internet. And so I think that's part of what's going on. I think that there's both a desire to suppress cryptocurrencies in general, and then I think it certainly didn't help that we've become this way of sharing information that's much harder to be controlled.
I love it, man. And I mean, really what is going on here does affect the entire cryptocurrency industry, especially in the United States, which, would hamper a lot of development, which is unfortunate. And ultimately, in addition to putting the cryptocurrency industry at risk, it would set a precedent, which would allow for this to just follow suit with other projects. So they could really technically try to make an example of what LBRY Credit is. And we can't see that happen. So on the website, it says here, you could sign a petition and tell the SEC the cryptocurrency must remain legal and free, and you can add your signature. So I didn't include a link for this. When we're done, I'll make sure I go ahead and copy this link and include it down there. But can you explain to people the importance of going on to change.org, who also supports Ross Ulbricht, and I think he's up to over 400,000 signatures there, why it would be important for people to go and sign this petition?
Yeah. So everything terrible about politicians is great in this instance. Politicians are, in my opinion, somewhat spineless. They tend to attempt to, if masses of people really want something, politicians are likely to support it because that's how they get elected. So and this case in particular has a lot of aspects that I think is very offensive to just about anyone. You have to be extremely pro regulation and extremely pro authoritarianism to kind of not be on LBRY's side in this case. And so if we can show that there are a lot of people who are upset about this, a lot of people who want cryptocurrency to remain free to exchange, then I think we stand a better chance of politicians stepping in and not letting the SEC continue this suppression campaign.
I couldn't agree more. While I'm talking to you, I'm trying to copy this link, and I want to go ahead in the chat real quick and just throw it in the chat so people have it available so they can easily go and sign this thing.
And then I really appreciate everyone signing the petition. The whole company does. The other thing that you can do that's very helpful is you can continue to spread LBRY and continue to get more people creating channels and getting a little bit of the token for themselves. And that's the stronger the network gets, the more resilient it is in general. And so, we're trying to make lemonade out of lemons here. Yeah. And, this is a chance for, if you're already keyed into LBRY, this is a chance to spread it. And if you're not, it's a pretty good reason to check it out. If big tech and big government are against it, maybe we're onto something here.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And, it's really sad after it kind of dawned on me when I was talking to you. You guys are basically experts at making lemonade out of lemons. Our real first interaction came out of the crypto YouTube purge that happened at the end of 2019, which was like kind of a blessing and a curse, because it was great to have that influx of people, but you didn't want it to be because of that reason. But it was, again, making lemonade out of lemons, and you guys are so great at that.
Well, thank you. I think that is, I think that's part of being a good entrepreneur, honestly, and it's not even an entrepreneur, just a good life lesson. I mean, so much of anyone's life, my life, my personal life, only so much of it is in your control. A lot of it's outside of your control. And so you got to focus on what you can control. I can't make the SEC stop this. At least I probably can. Maybe if enough people sign the petition, they'll change their mind, but I don't know. But we can attempt to use this to continue to spread our message. And I'm not going to say we didn't do this wrong either, but I think like the cryptocurrency industry has become somewhat factionalized in the sense that, everyone's on like team this coin or team that coin. And I think it's much more the cryptocurrency space together, against those who would destroy it. The sort of status quo of big tech, which is, very exploitative, invasive, not generally respectful or fair to people, and Wall Street. These are the entities that we really ought to be considering our enemies. And rather than, jockeying for position amongst ourselves, I think it would be great to have more more unity among people who just like cryptocurrency in general, because we're all on the same team, and if you're into cryptocurrency, you're going to be on the winning team. Yeah, even if you don't pick the horse that comes in literally first, I think you're still going to end up on the winning team. And so we're fighting for this. A lot of times the industry people in the space seem to be fighting for this position against each other, but when one of us wins, we tend to all win. And in this case, if one of us loses, a lot of us are going to lose.
Yeah, and you have such a way with words with this. I mean, you're spot on, and it would be really ignorant and selfish and not doing the right thing if anyone in the cryptocurrency space, anyone in blockchain space, isn't supporting what is going on. And for anyone who cares about freedom of speech, I mean, it's if you really care about this stuff, this is the time. I've been talking about we all need to start taking action and get involved. And can you let people know, because this is one of the things that I really enjoy about LBRY and Odyssey, and I gotta use more of the LBRY and more of the Odyssey and less of the LBRY, and we'll get into that. But I really like how you make it super easy for somebody who's not even technical to be able to have a channel, if they already have an existing channel on YouTube, and I think there was a minimum requirement on LBRY, but I don't know if there's a requirement on Odyssey. And it's as simple as signing up and clicking a button that says sync my YouTube channel. Can you kind of go into like the simplicity of that?
Yeah, that's right. So there is, if you are a YouTube creator, I believe it's 300 sub minimum currently. And that's just to prevent our systems from getting overburdened. And if you want to send me a direct message or something, if you're under that, I can probably get you in. But we have this tool that will copy your entire channel over, both the entire back catalog, or there's some limit, like 1,000 videos or something, but most of your back catalog, probably all of it, unless you're really prolific, and your videos moving forward will continue to be published to the LBRY network. And you're right, and that's another thing that's frustrating about this case is, unlike just about every other cryptocurrency, and I'm not trying to knock anyone, as always, like, I want it all to be free, I want it all to be legal, as long as you're not like lying or cheating, this kind of thing, I think people should be, yeah, exactly. But we focused so much on use the thing. We haven't focused on the price of the token. We've said, come and check out, use this. I got into blockchain not because I wanted to be part of some financial revolution, but because as a computer scientist, I said, wow, this is a really powerful technology that could allow us to own our identities online, can allow us to publish and share information, and we don't have to give all of this control to a small number of, Silicon Valley elites that frequently have politics, whether it's the leaders or the people at the company, I'm not sure, where they've become so political and so locked down in terms of what you can say and talk about. And that's why I want this to win. The token has to have a price. That's sort of the nature of any public blockchain token. It's a freely traded thing. Everything that's freely traded is going to have a price. But we didn't set out and say, oh, go buy this thing, it's going to make you rich. We weren't doing any of that. And so to see us singled out when there were hundreds of companies that I think were doing much more promoting their token as an investment or something like this, it has been frustrating that they sort of chose us when I wish they'd chosen someone else. Yeah,
but in a way, though, I mean, like, I get what you're saying, but from the devil's advocate perspective, with what you guys are doing with offering freedom of speech. And basically, as long as you're not crossing the line on natural law, that you're permitting it to exist. And then we're talking about things like child pornography or snuff films. I mean, obviously, those aren't going to be allowed on the platform. They'll be taken down, which makes sense because that crosses that line. But other than that, man, you guys are, in a sense, kind of like sticking it to the man, giving us an alternative against YouTube. And YouTube is trying to control this narrative. Regardless of anybody who wants to think, who has a logical mind and sees what's going on with the censorship, not only of channels and voices of individuals or different groups of whatever they're covering, but you're also seeing it happen now with websites, with servers, with applications. You're seeing big tech team up and saying that they're not going to list said application on their app store because they don't agree with the fact that they're allowing people to have freedom of speech, and they're not, and that particular application won't play game and control a narrative that is false. And
Yeah.
you guys are doing the opposite. So it makes complete sense that the SEC is doing this.
Yeah, so that is certainly, I do think there's some aspects of this case that make me a little suspicious. I don't have any.
I just have to state the obvious. I know you're currently in a legal case. So I'm just stating the obvious, and you don't have to go any further and incriminate yourself.
I will offer. So I think there's suspicious facts. I think it's suspicious. We've been super honest. The things that they're charging us for, we're like basically by the fall of 2018, we were like, yeah, we did all of these things. Like, we think it's legal. And then they wait until the beginning of 2021 to bring the case, after we're seeing unprecedented attention. I do think that's a little bit suspicious to me, but truthfully, I think part of it might be, just to give a more innocent one, I'm not saying that one is wrong, but a more innocent one is simply that they're lazy. And we made it very easy. If you're a regulator and the job is to regulate things, and their perspective is everyone's wrong, right? Their perspective is every single token is a security essentially. And so, we made it really easy because we were super public. We've been so transparent with how every single token is used that, they go after us because they don't have to work very hard. We didn't set up a bunch of shell companies. We didn't move money around in shady ways. We did everything fully in the open. And, so you shoot the fish in the barrel, rather than, go and catch the ones that are a little bit harder to catch.
Yeah. So for the transparency, for people that are interested, if you go to LBRY.com, you can pretty much get links to anything that's going to allow for you to pretty much look into the glass house. Under
company, I think at the top, I think it's under company. Yeah, we have credit reports. So we've been publishing from the very beginning, all the way going back to 2016, like exactly how we're using the tokens. We've been very transparent. Every single token is accounted for, so like literally, basically and this is why it's so dumb that it took 3 years to get here. Like, the entire basis of their case is the documents posted there and the blog posts and tweets. It's like, yeah, okay, like, we're not hiding anything. Like, you're making this really hard. Like, and another really frustrating part of this, in addition to them, wasting all of our time and money, some of which they did explicitly, some of which they did specifically to hurt us. They, have refused to offer any kind of, positive guidance. Like, we're not unwilling to settle. I'm a pragmatic person. Okay. Even if I think I did something wrong, sometimes it's better off to sort of give the powerful person, the thing that they want, even if you think it's wrong for them to take it, right? Like, if I'm getting robbed, and someone's got a gun pointed at me, I'm going to give you my wallet, right? Even though I think it's not principled, I'm probably going to give you my wallet if you've got a gun pointed at my face. The one requirement that we've had is we need some guidance as to how to operate legally. Like, if we're going to settle, how do we operate legally in the future? Like, what are the laws that we're supposed to be following that you think that we're breaking? And, they're not willing to give you any of this information. They can offer no positive guidance. We started writing our own plans of like, well, what if we operate this way? And they wouldn't even look at them. So it really felt like they were out to get us from the very beginning, that there was no possibility that we could be innocent. There's no possibility that a cryptocurrency company can do this right. It's like, they're wrong and we have to destroy them by any means possible. And as someone who, it's not like the most surprising to me that the government can act this way, but it has been sad. I wish that, like, I want that American ideal of like, we're competitive and we're innovative, and we have people that are that are pushing of what we can do as human beings and this kind of thing. Like, I really like that way of thinking, and it feels just so untrue in terms of what we've been dealing with.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I know your time is somewhat limited, so I've only got a couple more questions. One I wanted to ask was the attorney or attorneys that are representing you guys.
Yeah.
I had heard something to the effect of someone that was involved in a prosecuting team against Jordan Belfort, who's known as the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. I think that ended up as a joke in one of the. I mean, that's true, but it was made as like a joke point in one of the reaction videos. Yeah. So both of our attorneys are former regulators themselves. One of them was at the SEC. I guess they were not literally. I don't know if they were literally regulators, but they prosecuted these cases. I don't know if that makes them regulators or not. One of them was at the SEC. The other one was at the Department of Justice. And the one that was at the Department of Justice did assist in putting away Jordan Belfort. So, I mean, it is the classic sort of revolving door, right? You go work as the regulator, then you go work in industry, and you try to stop the regulators. So they've revolved out of the agency and into working for us. They're rated as 2 of the top 20 blockchain lawyers by Business Insider, and we've been working with them since before the SEC even came down, right? So we weren't, like scrambling to find a lawyer. We've been following this law firm's advice from the beginning. So I do think we have very good counsel.
That's awesome. I mean, at least that you're a very forward-thinking individual, and I appreciate that. I mean, I know you're a supporter of like the Free State Project. You're a voluntarist. You're obviously a proponent of freedom of speech. So, I'm glad to be able to have this relationship with you. And, I'm really appreciative of everything that LBRY has done. I mean, I've gotten letters from you guys thanking me as a content creator. I've gotten this gift that you guys sent me with some LBRY credits. It's like a USB with LBRY engraved on it. And, you guys have made me feel just appreciate it. And I don't get anything like that obviously from YouTube. So I mean, I have to be supportive because I'm supportive of what you've offered and given to me. And then I just feel like the rest of the world needs to know about this and try to be as supportive as they possibly can. So sign the petition, go to the website. Links will be down below with the petition. I put the link for the petition in the chat, but I will have it in the video description. I got a few questions in relation to Odyssey. Do you have anything else that you want to add in regards to the case and the SEC case, or you think we've covered pretty much?
Let's get back to, and because I'll add this because it'll be a segue into what you're about to ask. Like, this is something that it's going to go on for more than a year. It's not about to end. And so there will be more actions that can probably get taken in the future. This is not going to stop us from continuing to build. We've always been one of the companies that builds, sort of faster and more diligently than a lot of the other ones. And we're not going to stop. So we're not getting distracted. We're not going to stop our core mission of doing to publishing what Bitcoin does to money. We're not going to stop. And so this isn't going to be something where it's going to be this big distraction and now 80% of our company is over here. It's going to cost us some time. It's going to cost us some money, but we're not going to let our foot off the gas when it comes to continuing to build.
I love it, dude. And I mean, that's what you guys have been doing, is building. And the last time we talked, you were just had launched Odyssey, and it was going to be an alternative to YouTube. I'm not sure what the full game plan was, or how we got to where we are now, but you're going to be, ultimately everyone decided at LBRY to retire LBRY.TV in favor of Odyssey.com. But that still means that, and I want you to explain it to other people, but it still uses the backbone of LBRY. The backbone of LBRY to me is the decentralized nodes, the desktop application, the storage of the videos that allows for that decentralization. And we did talk about LBRY.TV and Odyssey.com doesn't have that same decentralization because you're dealing with centralized servers. So that was the versus point, which gave me that better understanding of why LBRY is the most decentralized content sharing platform. But I'd like to kind of get your opinion or thoughts on why you guys are retiring LBRY.TV, going more with the Odyssey brand, but still obviously LBRY is very much important?
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons. Some of the two biggest ones are probably that, one, it caused a lot of confusion because the LBRY network is this decentralized peer-to-peer network, and LBRY.TV is not that. It's something that interacts with it. So a comparison that I would give is, imagine if Coinbase.com was located at Bitcoin.com. Like, Coinbase is not Bitcoin. Coinbase interacts with Bitcoin. It lets you use Bitcoin. If you want true control over your Bitcoin, you wouldn't keep it in Coinbase. I don't knock Coinbase. I use Coinbase. Amazing company. For most people, they're gonna want something like that. And what's key is that you're not trapped in Coinbase. You can get your Bitcoin out, and so to have them provide these, value-added extra things is nice. So LBRY.TV was causing confusion. People thought that LBRY was LBRY.TV. And so that confusion aspect was one of them. Another was, we made Odyssey and then we looked at the data. People like Odyssey more. People use it for a longer time. People are more likely to come back. And so it can help the project succeed. And it also makes it more straightforward to build things that might interact with LBRY, but that aren't a core part of the network. So an example would be something like the categories. We're going to turn the categories into a completely decentralized feature where anyone can create a category and then people can add them or remove them. But we built that first as a not decentralized feature, and then we can transition it into a decentralized feature. And so it lets us move faster without needing to have everything be decentralized up front. So those would be I guess I said two reasons, but I gave three. And those would be three big reasons.
Okay, awesome, dude. I appreciate that. And could you tell me what the importance of actually downloading the desktop application would be, especially for a content creator?
Yeah,
versus just using the web version.
Yeah, it's good to download the desktop app so that you can have a local copy of your wallet file and a local copy of, especially as a creator, to have a local copy of everything. Right, when you're using Odyssey, it's effectively a custodial wallet, and so it's good to do that so that you can have a copy of everything. It's also good. It basically, if you're the kind of person who would take full control over your Bitcoin, which I have full respect for the people who do that, and I do that with some of mine. Go to get the desktop version. If you're that kind of person, if you're the kind of person, if you hear the word peer-to-peer, and like, I know what that is, go and get that desktop version. So the desktop version does offer you more privacy. It does offer you some additional settings that aren't available on the web version, and it offers you more control. It's a little bit more complex. It's a little bit more to deal with. It's not quite as easy to get started with. And so those are some of the trade-offs. If anyone is listening to this and they're not already on one or the other, you can always start on Odyssey and move to desktop. You can also just jump right into the desktop version. And if you're already on the web version, but you haven't ran the desktop version to get that local copy of things, it is potentially worth getting that desktop version and downloading everything locally.
Cool. And I would definitely, what I would personally recommend, just from having the user experience of all three, is definitely I would go through Odyssey.com as a gateway. If you have a minimum of 300 subscribers, or you need to contact Jeremy, you can reach out to me or Jeremy. The information is down below. But I would go that way, and then I would encourage people to download the actual desktop application as well. And there's a mobile version as well still, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the way we're going to be doing things moving forward, is the mobile. So the mobile app's like a bit hybrid between centralized and decentralized. One on Android, shortly after the Odyssey app launches. So basically the Odyssey apps are going to be more okay with centralized features. They're still going to interact with LBRY, but they're going to be less sort of idealistic. And then anything branded LBRY, it will be like a pure, decentralized app.
Okay, cool. And okay, so two more questions. Obviously, we're live streaming now on Odyssey, but it's limited to very select people. And I appreciate you guys for allowing me to be able to, be one of those select people. But when would it be opening up for the general Odyssey user?
Oh, saying dates only gets me in trouble, so I've kind of stopped doing
With
it.
generalizations, are we saying a few months, maybe possibly by the end of summer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I want to say likely, but I'm gonna definitely leave myself some space to fudge that. We just rolled it out to a couple thousand people. We're very glad that you're one of them. We're gonna see how this goes. We always like study things and look at the data, and then the goal will be to continue to. I find that 10x is frequently a good multiple. So it's like, all right, this worked for 2,000. Okay, 10x it to 20,000. Okay, it's working. And then eventually you bring it to everyone. And so you kind of have to see how each stage goes. But right now, I believe anyone who is has a level 5 channel on Odyssey, which is something like either 500 or 1,000 credits. I should know the answer. But effectively, anyone can buy in today. So if you have that many credits staked on your channel, you can get into live streaming immediately. So in that sense, it's kind of open, but it's not open for someone to create an account and do it instantly, immediately. That's brand new.
That's cool. I mean, it's cool that you kind of have a little barrier too, because it kind of reduces, some of these people that just kind of copy other people's material.
Exactly. And that's another one of the reasons. Yeah.
And also, I will add another perk to having a desktop application is if there's a video that you see that you feel, that you feel other people need to see and you want to upload to YouTube or something like that, make sure you're giving credit to where it's coming from. Obviously, you can download videos, you can save files from the LBRY desktop application, which is, I think, a good perk, especially in today's day and age, the modern book burning that's going on with all the deletion of channels, websites, applications, and such.
That's very true. It gives you that like hard copy. It's also the sort of like pro-social thing to do. You're being a nice person, you're helping the network. And so I do absolutely encourage people to run the desktop client.
Cool. And the last question is, aside from the live streaming and such, what do we have in store for, roughly the next short-term and long-term for Odyssey and LBRY?
Okay. I mean, long-term, we want to grow from tens of millions to hundreds of millions and billions. Like this, I believe that this technology, I thought it when we started the company, but it was like pretty grandiose to say. Like now I feel like I can actually say it, that, we think that, and I'm not gonna say I never said it early, but I was always like, is that, that's really ambitious. But now it feels like this thing that we can actually achieve to have LBRY be this, foundational layer of the internet, a foundational way that everyone creates and shares information, where it's like, you'd be kind of silly or you'd be missing out on something to not publish it to LBRY, because why not? You get 100% of the price. It's free, it's open, it's not exploiting you, it's not spying on you. It's just so much better. Like, why would you not do it? And so that's what we want to reach with this, where we have just absolutely massive adoption. In terms of specific features, one I'll talk about is playlists. Playlists are very close. So you'll have more you'll have more ability to control the design of your homepage. You'll be able to make playlists for others, and just everything in the playlist space is, aside from live streaming, that's our biggest feature in the pipeline. Actually, there's one other feature that's going to come out like really soon, but I probably can't say what that is. It's not quite as big as playlist, but I do think it'll cause a bit of a splash. That might come out as soon as next week, but I can't say.
Can't say anything about it.
I can't. Well, I mean, we're trying to. I'll say this. We're trying.
Justin Sun on us.
We're trying to adapt to this client. We're trying to make it easier to use the coin, to acquire the coin, that kind of thing. So we're going to be doing something in this space.
Cool. Somebody asked a question. I'm gonna just ask real quick. McLovin said, "Can I run a node?" You can run a node. Just check out LBRY.com. There's a lot of information there, and you can reach out to Jeremy or anybody at the LBRY team on Twitter, and the links that are down below. Barry Dutton, I think he reached out to you, but he was asking, Jeremy is a super smart and been Liberty crypto focused for so long. Why did he decide to base LBRY back in the day in the USSA? Super interested in jurisdictional insights. And I think I know the answer, but
is your answer naivete? I don't know. One is a couple of things. One is, I don't think it matters actually where the company is based. Like, as a United States citizen and as someone who is playing a role in building all of this, I don't think if I had based the company in Switzerland or somewhere else that it would have changed things substantially. I think we may have been like lower on the chopping block or higher. I don't know. But like, I don't think legally, like, I don't think the legal status would have changed. Like, I'm still a U.S. citizen, and a lot of what they're alleging would basically still be completely true. The other answer is that a couple of other factors are, one is that, like, I wanted to do it under my name. I'm not comfortable psychologically, like, hiding what I'm doing. I think actually this might sound weird to people, but I'm like, I would be more scared, like, having to do things in this hidden fashion than having the government like actively suing me, because I just don't like that pressure of like feeling like I need to hide things. So that would have been just hard for me personally. And then another reason, and this one maybe seems foolish in retrospect, like I thought the bigger legal issues were going to be around like First Amendment type stuff. And the United States has been terrible with crypto, but it's in terms of your free speech, it's like, really, it's the best in the world still. The stuff the bad stuff that's happening is largely not through the government, at least not explicitly. So that was another reason, is, you know, to have a company where I thought we were going to face First Amendment type challenges, right, that we'd be better off in the U.S.
No, it totally makes sense, man. It makes sense, and it partially was where I was thinking. I just figured, you know, you kind of have the same outlook I do. It's just better to do things out in the open, regardless of what you're doing, because when you kind of act as if you're trying to hide what you're doing, you almost bring attention to yourself in an unwanted way.
Yeah. Well, I do. I would have 100% agreed a couple of years ago. Now I'm at like 90% agreement, because I do feel that if we had like simply made it less easy, that they would have been going after someone else. I do think that that's part of what's happening. And so that I don't like that. And I think that will be seen well by the courts, because we haven't tried to hide anything. But I don't like that. I do feel like one of the lessons I'm getting is like, yeah, the government's like lazy, so just don't make it easy for them. And like, I mean, I don't know. I like the idea of being really transparent, but I do think that's one of the lessons.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, man. And again, man, I really appreciate your time. If you could bear with me 1 second, I'm going to wrap things up. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you'd like to add to today's conversation?
If wherever you are in the hierarchy of like moving down the library usage pipeline, please like advance one step. So if you're not there, get on Odyssey, create an account, follow Rice. If you're already there, make sure you have a channel. Make sure you start publishing things yourself. If you're already there, make sure you get the desktop stuff, the app, and everything's like backed up, and keep advancing your usage and keep spreading it. And that's how we're going to win.
I agree. I want to add this link down below too for the petition. Make sure you sign this petition. I want to stay in touch with you and stay on top of this. So if there's any developments, I'll definitely bring you back on and do what I can to be as supportive as possible of LBRY as you guys have been to me as a content creator in the community as well. So can't thank you enough, my friend. If you could bear with me 1 second, I'm going to go ahead and wrap everything up on this end and talk to you for 1 second. I know you're busy. Throwing out my little thumbnail here, which makes it a lot easier for me just to go ahead and say I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, this is my first successful live stream on Odyssey.com.
Woo!
Make sure you're following me on Odyssey, and make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel as well. It's great to support on both platforms. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button. And as always, I encourage everyone to be the change by practicing change. And I love you all. Have a good one.